Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Truck Super Speedway Series here on Green White Checkered TV. We've got 100 laps in store for you at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the third race of the playoffs, and a lot of action in store for you tonight. We'll waste no time getting into it. We're going to bring up our playoff graphic for you and show you where those point standings are. We see Gabe Butler at the top with 1,074 points. Ryan Decker hot on his heels, just 6 points back in second place. Third place back to Jim Brooks, 1,067. Dean Wilkinson, 1,061. And Bud Steele in top 5, 1,060. It's still anybody's race, and there are still 2 races to go to decide our champion here. We are pretty much finished with qualifying, but before we go through that starting grid, I'm going to bring in Brandon Briggs up here in the booth with us tonight. Brandon, what are you most excited for here tonight at Atlanta?
Man, I'm excited to see how these guys are going to approach this pit road. We know how dangerous and treacherous it can be. It's a little bit easier now entering off turn 3, but pit road has cost a lot of these guys throughout the season, and so tonight the pressure is really on these guys with only 2 races left. I'm going to be definitely keeping my eye on that pit road entrance.
Absolutely. That has been treacherous at times here at Atlanta that we know, and these drivers are going to have a handful trying to deal with that tonight, but we mentioned we'd bring up that grid for you there. You see that 411 truck of Tom Dixon. He's going to sit on the pole for tonight's activities. They're in that 411 driving for TW Motorsports now. And to his outside is going to be one of the Roswell Motorsports drivers. That's Jack Walls in that 83. Opened the playoffs with a victory for him, and he's looking forward to having hopefully a good night from that second starting position. Ryan Decker there, he's second in points, but third in the grid for tonight. Another Roswell Motorsports entry, Charles Johnson in the number 9, TW Motorsports. He'll be to his outside. We got Koabi Brooks joining us tonight. A rare entry from the favorite son of the Brooks brothers, obviously Gael and Koabi. Good to see him out on track with us here tonight, starting in a respectable 5th position. Eric Laurie in the 071 for Team Bootnaka Esports. He's going to be there outside of row number 3. Everett Lane in the 24 inside of row number 4, and TW Motorsports Dean Wilkinson to his outside. Justin Davis in the 10 and Gabe Butler in the 88. They'll be side by side for the 5th row of your grid and your top 10 for tonight. Then we have Frank Ranger Jr. and Bob Fitzgerald rocking the 6th row, and a few more drivers to bring up here. Nick Wing is going to be the last driver to take a time. He's going to start 13th there in that number 28 Ford F-150. Another Roswell Motorsports teammate to his outside, Jim Brooks, and one behind him, Bud Steele, starting shotgun on the field as we get ready for 100 laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's a short pace lap, so there's not a lot of time to get the thoughts collected, but we're about to go green. Final thoughts before race start here, Brandon.
Just a thought here with this, as we talked about the playoffs coming down, one of our YouTube comments talking about Tom as a qualifying machine. Definitely a good run there for that 411. He's had a couple rough finishes, so it's nice to see that 411 up there, get that 4D racewear gloves, pull it tight. Boom, we're getting ready to drop it green here at Atlanta on this playoff race.
Coming out of turn number 4, the pace truck is going to dive onto pit road, and they're going to release these Craftsman Truck Series drivers as they come through the restart zone here. Green flag in the air. We are 100 laps, ready to go for 100 laps here at Atlanta.
Yeah, a little bit rough start there by the 411. The 48 got a little bit into them there, but they're able to keep it going and keep that bottom line of charge as we see the 55 already drop down. These guys getting into position early. I was able to race with these guys the last time we came here. These trucks are a handful here, so tire wear will start to come into play as we see the 48 move to the outside, trying to get that early first lap lead as the 411 stays to his inside.
Good move to the outside for the 48. And he's going to charge ahead, I believe. We'll see at the line. It is going to be Decker with the first lap lead of tonight's race here. 2x2, about 5 rows deep. Couple cars singling out single file just behind at the back of the pack. Waiting to see how this one is going to unfold. And the 071 already out of line, out of groove. He's going to go to the high side there and fall back spot, letting Gabe Butler get ahead of him. And that promotes Gabe Butler up into the top 5.
Yeah, a good run there by Gabe. He picked up the win last week. And speaking of the leader, Ryan Decker, so close to picking up that win last week at Daytona. So I can only imagine how hungry he is. He got a second in the Gen 4 cars and then a second in the trucks. So that 48 is definitely hungry for a victory. And what better way would be is to get a victory going into this last playoff race? As we see a big move for the lead.
Oh, the 88's going to brush the wall to the outside there. After the move, the 9 makes to the inside. The 88 gets a little bit tight, hits the outside wall. Hopefully no damage for that 88 as he's obviously one of the contenders for the playoffs here. Looks like he's going to be able to regroup and be okay, but that definitely split up the field just a little bit here. You see now the 9, the 48, the 83 kind of breaking away a little bit. But we've got actually, looks like potentially a crash in the back for Everett Lane, or might have had to jump to pit road. Yeah, jumps to pit road there. So not entirely sure what's going on with the 24, but he is in the pits towing back, and that's going to be a tough one to come back from here tonight, as we're working on lap number 5 already. And there's been a little bit of action. You see there's 88 gets back down to the bottom, back into the 5th position. And we're stretched out a little single file for the moment.
Yeah, and with Everett Lane already had to come into pit road, I could be wrong. I do not think he is a playoff contender, but what that really hurts is that we also seen the 88 get in the wall. That's a teammate of Gabe, and as these super speedway races, especially here with Atlanta, you would like to really keep your teammates. Now, it doesn't really run into the situation like you do at Daytona or Talladega, where you'll massively and horribly fall off. This, you can a little bit rebound a little bit, but definitely a tough break already for the Bootknocker team.
Yeah, for sure. Always tough to have one less driver up there in the pack when it is, so important. We've talked about, we beat it to death, but, teamwork and having those people to work with is such a big part of super speedway racing. Obviously, it's obviously there's, still ability to find some friends wherever you need to, but if you've got, a line of cars that are, a team that's really well aligned and rocking pretty good, it's kind of tough to beat that without any help of your own. So for now, we're kind of jumbled up a little bit at the front here. Obviously, we got a couple TW Motorsports guys, but TW Motorsports leading the bottom, Team Bootknocker Esports leading the top, and then a couple Roswell Motorsports in the inside lane behind, and more TW Motorsports and Team Bootknocker behind all that. And going back to 8th place is Kawabe Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald, and Jim Brooks, your top 10. And we are on lap number 8. The 071's going to go to the high side here. He's going to let the 55 and the 88 on through, and they are going to try and make their charge up to the front. What I was going to mention before some of the chaos there with the 88 hitting the wall is that, Ryan Decker's had a pretty solid season, and he's definitely running up front. Him and Jack Walls both having pretty solid season, getting hot kind of at the right time here in the playoffs. And obviously they're looking to try and capitalize as much as they can on that momentum, and a good start tonight trying to control this race early on. Obviously now relegated to 4th and 5th, but those two teammates, you're going to have to keep an eye on them pretty much all night long.
Yeah, Ryan Decker really has had a great year. Second in most top 5s this year, only behind the truck right there in front of him with Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson, most top 5s, was 6th this year. So a really, really great run here by the 48. And it's even sped up a little bit with the new sponsor of the chicken sponsor, the secret recipe. I'm hoping if we get a championship, we might be able to get that chicken recipe out of him. But definitely a good run this season by the 48, and we definitely see some big moves up there. You can really see the 071 really trying to push that 88 as the high line, just not having not many cars up there to give them much help right now.
No, but they're holding steady for the most part here. Obviously, the 88 and the 071 are pretty well linked together here with the 55 and the 9. It does help that the 48's a little bit further back off the rear bumper of the 9 at the moment. But for the most part, they're holding their ground pretty well, and you can see how well that high lane moves forward, especially down the back straightaway. Obviously, the bottom's always going to surge ahead in the middle of the corners, but yeah, something to keep an eye on. I know when we had the last finish here at Atlanta, it kind of just came down to a gridlock, whoever can push the hardest in the inside or the outside lane. And you got to be the one that's in that position there. As you see now, the 88's probably going to get down, and yep, in front of that 48 there is the 55 and the 9 breakaway. That's going to leave the 071 out to dry for a little while here. We'll see. He's got a teammate there back in the 10 of Davis. see if he'll let him in there. But the 55 and the 9, two teammates, are going to be leading this one. Dean's clicking off a couple laps led early on here tonight in that beautiful Cheerwine. I think that's F-150 if I'm not mistaken. So it's yep, good looking truck there at the front. Hydro Flask Silverado for the 9, his teammate of Charles Johnson. The Guinness, always iconic Guinness 88 from Gabe Butler, and mentioned lots of really cool paint schemes in the league. The new sponsor for the 48 of Ryan Decker, and it's cool to see all these guys showing out with some really great looking trucks here tonight.
Yeah, they definitely do bring some good ones. We don't see him much anymore, but Peter DeBorgia makes some amazing paint schemes. And not only does he make some amazing paint schemes that he's done for some of these trucks in this league, it goes to a really, really great cause. Miss seeing DeBorgia over here. Used to be a frequent flyer, not as much anymore, but definitely does well on these paint schemes with these trucks. And I seen that outside working out there with the 88 and the 071, and I don't know if they knew it, but they had the 10. He had hopped up there, and they was trying to make a run. So kind of makes me think that pit stops are a little bit not too far around the corner.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit lesser fuel load in these trucks, and the pit entry will have to be on into turn number 3, going around the apron to get to the pit entry there with the new layout here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we've seen earlier pit stops than expected with the fuel load, like we mentioned, so probably coming here in the next couple laps. And you can tell with everyone being single file that everyone's kind of ready to try and make those moves, and we'll see if anybody does. Nobody this time by. We're going to keep single file as Dean Wilkinson continues to lead this parade at about 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, and I know it might be a little bit too early to maybe look in this, but I would really like to focus on the 48 of Ryan Decker. As you see how he's running that lap up. These trucks at Atlanta really eats up the tires compared to more super speedway racings. Atlanta really starts to beat him up. But as you see, Ryan Decker's running about a half lane higher than everybody else, and he's really arcing it into this corner. As you see, he's really going to turn in this corner, which means he's not, to me, he's trying to save a little bit more tire, not really turn as much going in there. So maybe a little bit early strategy on the 48, maybe thinking, hey, I'll be able to get away with taking no tires or right sides only.
Yeah, and the progression of this track has been, different throughout the different builds and the seasons. Obviously, we've had this track since, I believe, 2023, obviously repaved in the real world in 2022, but we've had a lot of opportunities to see different kinds of racing. I mean, from the first race that we ever had here, it was a ton of tire wear, and we saw people who took 2 tires come out with an 8-second lead that got erased, and then everyone who took 4 tires blew on by them and then won the race by quite a bit. Now the model has changed a little bit where you can last a little bit longer on 2 tires for sure than you used to be able to at this track, but it's definitely still a for super speedway racing, this is by far the track you have to worry about the most tire wear, and it's interesting to see how the 48's taken that maybe larger arc. Curious if that's an effort just to keep the nose clean, or like you said, Brandon, trying to maybe arc the corner a little bit better, maybe trying to save a little bit of wear and tear on those good years.
Yeah, and I really like that, and I really like with the spot that he's in. You really want to be up front, especially coming to pit road here, because everybody's going to drop off the backstretch last second. You want to try to get every advantage as you can, and you don't want to cause a wreck or a hiccup or anything like that, but you want to gain every little bit of second or every little bit of strategy you can, especially in the playoffs. So being up there, and if he doesn't have to take tires right now early on, and some of these other guys that maybe the truck's starting to push a little bit or it's not doing very good because of how they started the race, he can get in and out a lot quicker, and that team has done really well with their pit stops and their communication. So just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and for sure that, obviously we've talked about pit stops and obviously coming a little later than we had originally anticipated. I'm kind of surprised with how sorted out this field has been early on with, it's been about single file for about 7 or 8 laps now, so would have expected that to be indicative of the fuel load, but a little more fuel in these trucks for tonight's race, and probably going to look like at least, or no more than maybe a 3-stop race, as we continue to see the 55 of Dean Wilkinson leading around here. He's pretty quietly got to the lead, and he's stayed there. He's up 7 spots. He is our hardest charger. Gabe Butler up 7 as well, but back in the 3rd position. And pretty much the top 8 really hasn't changed in probably the last 15 laps or so, maybe 10 for sure, but it's been pretty quiet and not a lot of action. These guys are being incredibly patient and just kind of waiting it out to see, what's going to happen, what's going to unfold here.
Yeah, and we see the 28 move to the outside. We see this a lot as pit stops start to come to try to grab you a few more positions. As you look on the ticker to Dean Wilkinson, we can see right here they're all in a line, but from Dean Wilkinson back there to that blue truck, Bud Steele is almost a second and a half. So that can cause you a lot. A second and a half can lose you the draft, and not only that. So Nick Wing trying to hop to the outside and pick up a couple more positions as he gets up there and get a little bit closer. You'll start to be able to really get a feel for your car and know if later on if you can make a run. So I like Nick Wing taking advantage of that and getting his truck up there around his teammates as pit stops should not be too far away. And speaking of pit stop, that 55 of Dean Wilkinson, we've talked about it on Sunday and Thursday. He's Mr. Pit Stop. He pushes it to the limit every single week. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he brings the whole pack if they do, and that's looking like what's going to happen, how they'll all do behind him.
Lap number 26, so definitely 3 stops or less for tonight's race. 100 laps again the distance, and there you see the 55. He's going to jump down to pit road. Does anybody else go with him? The 9 of Charles Johnson, teammate there, is going to enter with him. And looks like Tom Dixon potentially as well. Bob Fitzgerald and Frank Ranger Jr. of Ranger Custom Creations. He's going to be out there coming down pit road here in just a moment. Gabe Butler is going to take over the lead, so it's the 88, then the 48, the 83, the 071, and the 10, your top 5 at the moment. Do they answer the call here? Do they go one more lap? It's going to be answering the call for at least some for the Team Bootnaka Esports drivers. They're going to come down. Roswell Motorsports is going to stay out. The entire Roswell Motorsports group is going to save a little extra fuel here with Ryan Decker taking over the lead. Jack Walls, Nick Wing staying out, and we'll catch up with the 88, see how these guys get down onto pit road. And looks like a pretty clean entry there for these 3 Team Bootnaka drivers. And that will leave Roswell Motorsports to decide whether they're going to come in, and it should be, yep, this time by.
Yeah, and what we're seeing, look how fast they're going down this back stretch because, yeah, the line starts there, but not the speed limit. That's not the speed limit, Coney. You don't have to be down to 55. So this is really where you can make up a lot of time, where some guys are being nervous trying to go around here. If you're really hustling around on this apron, you can make a lot of time up. As we see Nick Wing, got to slow down there, a couple checkups, but I think they're going to get in all clear, and you really got to execute here and not overshoot your box.
Yep, we'll see how they get off of pit road as well. As you see, the 88 and the 071 are rolling together. Charles Johnson, the 9, and the 55 of Dean Wilkinson, they're going to get out well ahead of those Team Bootnaka drivers. And it looks like Gabe Butler and Eric Laurie took probably 2 right side tires based on the time, about 10 and 11 seconds or so. Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson here, you see them breaking away. They only took fuel here, no tires on that pit stop, as they only spent about 8.75 seconds on pit road, and they're going to get out ahead into the lead. Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald here in 4th place. They're going to be the next pack of 2 cars, and then you got to go back about another second to find Gabe Butler and Eric Laurie. Then Ryan Decker, Jack Walls, Nick Wing, Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, Quabi Brooks. And it looks like Justin Davis had a 21-second pit stop. Something interesting for him there. Curious to understand what the issue was, but not a penalty. Usually penalties are at least 40 seconds, so definitely probably at least 7 more seconds than we expected to see anybody spend on pit road. So not entirely sure what happened to Justin Davis there, and it does look like Frank Ranger Jr. He was caught probably speeding and or a pit road commitment violation, so he is going to spend about a minute on pit road there, about a 40-second penalty for him. So he is going to be tail end of the lead lap, and you can see the 9 and the 55 with the commanding lead that they have, stretching it out to over 2.5 seconds now over the rest of the field. And they're going to put this 17 truck a lap down here. Hopefully Frank can get in and tuck behind and stay with this group here and try to stay up, at least try to contend for that lucky dog position.
Yeah, and if Gabe Butler and these guys, I'm surprised if they're not on the radio yet, telling the 411 and the 08, hey, check up. We cannot let these guys pull away. In these 2-car packs, we're not going to gain. We need to be in a bigger pack. And what the 55 is hoping for is that right there, as we can see, the 17 is staying with them. We've seen it all season that 2 trucks, you may make a little time. But if you got 3 trucks, you can really catch or put distance. The 3 truck has really been the sweet spot for getting around these super speedways. And Frank, you can see him hanging right on there, and that's what Dean and them wants. Dean wants the 17 to stay with them, to add that 3rd truck, and even if need be, we can see the 55 really pushing hard. They know the gap they've grown, and if you look over to the ticker, it's still growing. That's because of the 17 staying with this group right here and allowing that speed to constantly build up, compared to where you see Gabe and those guys did fall back into that pack. But it may just be a little bit too late, and it's going to really pick up the intensity of this race, as these guys are going to have to push even harder to catch back up.
Yeah, and you see the space there between the 08 and the 411 there. That's really the big difference there. If you jump back to the lead, the 55 is all over the back bumper of the 9, trying to do everything that they can to push and make more progress. So you can see that gap was about 3 seconds. It's grown to about 4 now, and that is a huge advantage for the 9 and the 55. Well, I think it's perfect timing here. We just went through a green flag pit cycle here, and we're focused on the leaders and the lap down car, the lucky dog candidate right now of Frank Ranger Jr. So I think it's time to bring up our Ranger Custom Creations side-by-side commercial. So we'll be right back.
I feel like I'm afraid to say how I feel, to know I let you down. These late nights turn to days, don't wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your heart. I feel like I'm afraid of the only things I can't change.
It is Ranger Creative Concepts, and I continue to get that wrong. I do greatly apologize to Frank and Mindy Ranger for that, but Ranger Creative Concepts, one of the things that they're also doing is providing trophies for the champions for each series here at Area 51, and that's a really cool promotion. Obviously, really cool products that they have. All sorts of stuff that you can think of that they can put together for you, and it's cool to see. Appreciate them being able to give back to the league as well, and hope to continue to grow their business there. So we see, obviously, Frank is the first car 1 lap down. Justin Davis is off of the pace. And actually, no, I take it back. Looking at it, it looks like Frank Ranger is actually scored 2 laps down, and the 10 of Justin Davis is scored 1 lap down at the moment. But we've got Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson here. They have stretched this lead out to over 7 seconds, and now you see, so the second pack, the Roswell Motorsports Group, has caught the 3-pack of the was the 411, the 08, and the 88, and now the pack here is going to try and make up a little bit of ground. On that last pit cycle, Ryan Decker, Jack Walls, all of this group from Roswell Motorsports took 4 tires, and that was the big difference in why you saw them fall further back. But now they've got a larger pack. We'll see. So next time by, we'll check the speeds and see if we can see. So we'll see Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson coming around turn number 4, and we'll call out their lap times as they come across the stripe, which will be a 30:48. And we'll see what Ryan Decker runs as he crosses the stripe that time, a 30:47. So that is pretty well even. I mean, to the 100th place, to 100th of a second. So that is going to be, I mean, that is an incredible advantage for the 9 and the 55 that they have at this moment. To have a 7.5 second lead after the first set of green flag pit cycles is incredible, and just shows how good of an execution they had on pit road. Now the thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on is the tire fall off going to be enough over this run. We're going to probably see everybody go to about lap 52, probably 55, 56. You can go a little more on the second and every subsequent fuel run just because you burn a little bit of fuel at the beginning of the race for the longer pace lap. So there's going to be a little bit of a chance to stretch it out a little bit farther, and obviously the Roswell Motorsports guys stretched out to 28. So probably in about 10 laps, we're going to try and keep an eye on those lap times for you, see if these guys at the front who did not take any tires are starting to fall off compared to that Roswell group who's now leading that second pack, as they all have 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, and I think what the difference is as you look, the 83 is, I mean, he's close, but he's not close enough. The 55 is on the 9's bumper. He is not letting off. The only time I've really seen him let off is when he lets the truck cool off in the corners. Down the front stretch, the back stretch, he is pushing Charles Johnson all the way around this track. And I think that's just that little bit of the hiccup is where they're getting from. So I wouldn't be surprised to hear Ryan start to get on there and tell him, hey, man, we're really going to have to push her. I don't think the tires are really going to affect the 9 and the 55 because they're not really up there racing. They're just turning really, really good laps. So as you can see, look at the 55. He is just all over the 9. And Frank's just doing his job perfect right there, just keeping that speed up there, not doing any damage, staying in the right spot in case the caution does come out. But I think, boom, that's just really where they're losing, is the 55 is just not letting off, really doing some really, really great pushing right now.
Yeah, those guys are doing an incredible job. I mean, obviously Frank Ranger's connected there in that 3-pack, but it is still quite impressive to see the 9 and the 55, how far they have come out ahead of the leaders. And as they cross the stripe, so they run a 30:41. We'll see what Ryan Decker runs this time by and see if it's improved. No, so they're losing time 0.02 of a second slower for Ryan Decker that time. So this gap is not moving whatsoever, and if it is, it's potentially moving in favor of the 9 and the 55, and they are continuing to set sail and try to continue to gap this field here, as probably about 5 to 10 laps away from the next green flag pit cycle.
Yeah, and my apologies also. Justin Davis is actually the lucky dog after everything cycled out through that last pit stop. So Frank is just right there, and just probably going to wait for these guys to take their pit stop and maybe get the lap back the old-fashioned way. But right now, the 10 of Justin Davis sitting 11th. He's the lucky dog, and it's so crazy, like you said, how far they broke this lead out. And what's really interesting is 7.5 seconds. That's almost time to come to pit road before they even catch to your back bumper. So amazing job once again by the 9 and 55. And right now what they're saying is, hey, please stay sunshining and please stay green.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's quite impressive to see how the 55 is able to push the 9 and run nearly identical, if not faster lap times than the rest of the pack. They were 0.06 of a second faster the last time around. We'll see what they are this time. It's a 30:40 for Charles Johnson and a 30:41 for Ryan Decker. So they are continuing to add, a couple hundredths at a time each lap to their gap, and that is incredible to see as we're going to reach the halfway point as we cross the stripe here. this time by.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Decker may have said something to Jack Walls, or them fellas got something figured out back there. I'm watching timing and scoring. It's not going down a lot, but it's slowly starting to get there. As you see, the 83 has really started to close that gap. It's really starting to push, and I'm starting to see the ticker go the other way, but is it maybe just a little bit too late? Did their lead get too big? It's going to put even more pressure on these guys back here to execute their pit stops even better. And speaking of pit stops, our points leader right now sitting 7th. So definitely a good run there by the 9 and 55 as the point leader not having the day that he wanted so far.
Yeah, definitely a little further back in the pack here, but still remaining calm. I mean, obviously he's in this second pack pretty well. Has the opportunity to get up to at least 3rd, if nothing else changes, but still a good night. Obviously Ryan Decker has to be very happy with where he's at. And it looks like Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson are going to be coming down to pit road here on lap 52.
Yeah, as we see right now, the ticker, they're hustling around there. This pack still hasn't even caught him yet. They're going to catch him right now as they're entering pit road.
Oh, Charles Johnson gets loose. Oh, no.
What he's got to make sure is that he didn't speed, because could they have messed up this big pack here? It's definitely going to be interesting to see if the 9's going to have to hold for a speeding penalty or if he pulled off the old 55 and thread the needle.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what the pit stop time comes down to, but you can imagine we'll probably see these Roswell Motorsports guys stay out a little bit later. It looks like the TW Motorsports guys, the 9 and 55, they're just trying to break it up, into 4 even segments here, so they're going to get out of pit road, and Ryan Decker's going to continue to lead here. That last lap before the pit cycle, I was going to mention Ryan Decker was actually 0.3 of a second faster than our leaders, but now he's running, that last lap was about 0.3 of a second slower than what the leaders had been running, and it looks like they're going to come a little earlier than I expected at least. The 48 and the 83 are coming in down this time by. They'll have Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald with them, and thankfully for the 9 and the 55, no pit road penalties, clean execution, clean in the box, and they are up, and away, only 42 seconds behind our leaders here. So Bud Steele is going to stay out, and he's going to retain the lead with Jim Brooks, and Quabi Brooks is Gabe Butler. Eric Laurie, the 10 of Justin Davis, and Frank Ranger Jr. also going to come down this time by.
Yeah, and I like this move they did. They did it a little bit different than last time. A lot of them came in a little bit bigger groups. I like this smaller group. Get out with your teammate. Be a little bit spread out. Now that way it's a lot easier compared to like how we had it at the beginning, as we see this next set of guys come down to take their pit stop. Bud dropping down late, get him a good little run here. And you got to stay in the gas. You got to pick up time here. You cannot lose time here. A lot of guys slow down because of the apron and you don't want to spin, but you really got to push it. As you see the 51, he is making some pretty good time along with the 53 there behind him, as we see a little bit of a lockup there by Bud, but pretty good entry. And like I said, I like this smaller group way you can get out with your teammates, and you cannot have what happened last time. You can really have your teammate behind you pushing you and speaking to him like, hey, push it harder or whatnot.
So we'll jump back to the group that pitted first. That's the 9 and the 55. Then we go back. Gabe Butler is coming off of pit road with the 071 of Eric Laurie, who is now, I think, two laps down. And it looks like the 411, the 48, and the 83 are going to breeze on by, resuming their lead of that pack, but they'll all stay together here. And then we do see, obviously, Quabi Brooks, Jim Brooks, Tom Dixon. Nope, sorry, just Quabi and Jim coming out of pit road there here ahead of Tom Dixon, but he will be coming with a head of steam. So hopefully the 51 and the 53 should be able to latch onto this group here and regain that up to 9th place pack. Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson picked up right where they left off, about maybe even a larger lead at 7.3 seconds, and they pitted for 4 tires this time, about 15 seconds in the box, but it looks like most of the rest of the field did too. The only one who did not take tires at all was Tom Dixon. Bob Fitzgerald looks like he may have taken right side tires based on the time, and everybody else is over 14 seconds, which is indicative of 4 tires and a full fill of fresh Sunoco fuel.
Yeah, and I think right now this run right here is going to tell us everything, especially if we stay green. I seen that the 88 and the 48 they got together. If I'm that backpack, the 411 or any of those guys, I let them two guys get together. The 48 and the 88, they're both really good pushers. The 48, nothing against the other drivers, they are really good, but the 48 and the 88, I've watched them all year. They can just, they're like the 9 and the 55. They're not teammates, but they're so good at this that they can really gain up on them. And this is what they do not want to do. I don't think you want to run double file here and sliding around. As we can see, they're losing a ton of time here trying to get organized. Nobody bumper to bumper. This is really costing the second pack, Boom.
Yeah, about 0.2 of a second slower that time by compared to the leaders of Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson. We'll see what it looks like as they cross the stripe this time. So a 30:15 for Charles Johnson. And for Gabe Butler leading this pack is a, wait for it, 30.58. So 0.4 of a second slower, and you see the gap 8 seconds now between the first of Charles Johnson and the third place car of Gabe Butler there. They're going to grab the 28 of Nick Wing, and he is going to join. He had a penalty on pit road as well. He's going to join now quite a few laps down. Actually, he came down to probably an extra early scheduled pit stop, potentially to repair some damage here. But yeah, a lot of fun. Or not a lot of fun for him to have to deal with there, but he is back out on the speedway 13 laps down.
Yeah, and I want to tune over to our YouTube chat with Gaming Guy. He said second group needs to organize to try to catch the top two, but man, Charles and Dean are putting on a clinic, and he absolutely nailed it. Oh, as we see, try to stay out of the wall there. Oh, it looks like he's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Wiggle for him, but he's gonna be okay. Yeah.
And no, I've never seen this. I've ran a couple years here with Area 51, and we run all different types of tracks and super speedways and cars and everything. And Gaming Guy nailed it. They are putting on a clinic. I've never seen this done here, and they're doing it with 2 trucks, which is crazy because all year it's been the 3 trucks. If you lost the pack, the 3 trucks you could really catch back up. The 2 trucks really didn't do anything. These guys have got it executed. It's almost like the car in front of him is the car behind him is his ghost car. Wherever he goes, they go. So great run here by the 55 and the 9.
Yeah, and you know who that is, right, Brandon? In the
I do
YouTube
not.
chat. Oh, okay. Well, there's a letter at the end of the name there. It's Gaming Guy L, also known as Mr. Guy L. Brooks, our boss man here at Green White Checker TV. So appreciate Guy L chiming in to hang out with us here a little bit tonight. But it is, I mean, absolutely a clinic like he mentioned for the 9 and the 55. Guy L taking no nights off here, helping us from the YouTube chat. So we appreciate you, buddy, watching in and hanging out with us here tonight. So finally stopped dropping frames. So thanks for your help with that, and we're hopefully having a good broadcast here for you guys tonight. But we are just about to the 2/3 mark, and we have a caution on the speedway. I have no idea where, but there is Tom Dixon, okay, potentially involved, the 411, and that is going to be huge for the 9 and the 55. That is not what they wanted to see. They wanted to see this go to the end, and it was going to be a pretty easy set sail for him, and we'll see the 411 trying to get down to pit road. So we'll take it back to the moment of caution and try to understand what exactly happened here. And you see, oh yeah, in the second pack here, looked like a little bit of 3-wide action. The 411 is going to go for a spin, and it's crazy how quickly these trucks get up and into the air, and it looks like Jim Brooks is going to get a big impact there for the 51. Unfortunately, Kawabe Brooks going to be able to check up to the bottom in time, but nowhere to go for his dad, and a lot of contact for the 51 and the 411. So we'll try and bring that back one last time, see if we can get a better view of it, a little more zoomed in, and we'll focus on the correct cars this time and then rewind it and see at the point of caution here. So you see the 411 already into the bumper of the 48. We're going to rewind it just a little bit here and see if we can kind of understand coming on the back straightaway how this kind of unfolded, but you can kind of see, oh, potentially just a bit of a push there. You see he pushing hard on the back of the 411. 411 gets a little squirrely, drifts up just a little bit, and then unfortunately they make contact there, and just product of hard racing. Obviously the 48's trying to push as hard as he can, and you see the 411's going to come up and unfortunately take out the 51 of Jim Brooks, and yeah, that's going to be some big damage for those guys.
Yeah, unfortunate for both of them because the 51's been running so good, these last couple races, and especially in the playoffs. I believe he was sitting third, like 7 points out of first. He's going to be all right, going to be able to stay on the lead lap, come get a fast repair, get it all fixed. But I can guarantee you, somehow the 9 and 55 lost the lead, it's showing here.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to understand what happened here, but we're going to let timing and scoring sort this out, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Actually, no, I take it back. It looks like they came down. These guys are all coming down a second time down pit road. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. And definitely the caution that the 9 and the 55 did not want. So we saw after the first round of pit cycle under yellow flag condition here, the 88 got around the 9 and the 55 for the lead, but the 9 and the 55 are going to stay out, as well as Jack Wells, Bob Fitzgerald, and Ryan Decker. And from Kawabe Brooks on back, they're all going to come down pit road and get more fuel to run the distance here. It's going to be probably one more pit stop to the end no matter what for this field, and it's going to be the 9 of Charles Johnson who will be in control of the restart here as they get into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back out on the speedway, up to the 4-speed gearboxes they go in these trucks, and getting back up to speed on lap number 69.
Yeah, definitely a hiccup, maybe a missed shift there from 5th on back. This is not what this group wanted to see. The last thing you wanted to do is let this 9 and 55 get hooked back up again, and it looks like the 83 made sure. I was going to say that before the restart. Them guys starting in the second row, they had to make sure they didn't get hooked up again, and the 83 stayed right on the 9's bumper, making sure that those two couldn't get hooked up, and we still got the same race leader, and it looks like they're going to catch a pack. Got a little bit of a hiccup, about 1.9 seconds back to Bud, but it's growing, or it's shrinking. And speaking of Guy L in the chat, I do want to make it known that the 53 was in the lead at a point in this race. Just want to note that for the record, as we see one maybe had to come down for a pit stop here.
Yeah, looks like an extra pit stop there. But Gabe Butler's actually down on pit road as well right now, and trying to figure out what exactly had. Yeah, so he entered pits again, and Gabe Butler is still, coming down pit road. So not sure if there's an issue there, but I don't know if they're trying to pit to the end.
They're coming. It's a short pit. I think maybe that's his plan.
Oh man.
I seen him stop, and then that was way too short for a penalty. I think Gabe won last week. He's in the points lead. He has a pretty decent lead. We've seen how the race has gone so far. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to pull something out of the old bag here, Boom.
Yeah, I'm really curious here. That's going to be a long ways for these guys to have to stretch fuel. They came down again under caution the second time to get more fuel in their trucks. So it's kind of puzzling to understand why they're coming down pit road so early. So Yeah, gonna have to pay attention to that one for sure. Charles Johnson's gonna continue to lead. Jack Walls, Ryan Decker, Dean Wilkinson, and Bob Fitzgerald, your top 5 at the moment. Hard charger to Bob Fitzgerald at the moment in the 5th position. He's up 7 spots from the starting position of 12th. Bud Steele there's had a very quiet night, but still in the midst and running 8th right now. So he started shotgun on the field last position, and he is about up to the halfway point. So we'll see that 6 truck, how he can move on forward here throughout the night. And we are pretty close to the 3/4 mark of this one.
Yeah, and speaking of the YouTube chat, half of the third lane brothers hopped in here. Got Seth Gruber. Nice to see him in here. Hoping we can get him back here on Thursday. Him and his brother, man, they always make racing so exciting here. And some of the things they can do, they really took over the beginning of the Gen 4 season. Starting to level back off as the playoffs are coming, but glad to see some familiar faces checking in with the chat. But I really was seeing Eric will already being 3 laps down and pitting there with Gabe. That really tells me the strategy is we were watching some of these guys. I believe it was the Roswell group. They were really running it longer a little bit than everybody else. And we seen what Dean and Charles was able to do with 2 trucks. So I wonder, maybe Gabe said, hey, let's risk it. You know, Eric's race is 3 laps down. He's already in the back. I kind of like that strategy, Boom. It's going to be a tough one. It's really going to unfold badly if we have a caution due to Justin Davis being in front of Gabe. But it's making this race get amped up a little bit more as we go to 25 to go. As we got some guys coming to pit road. Late move there by the 83.
There we go, 83 on the pit road. In entry in turn number 3 there. He's got a little bit of a gap back to his teammate Ryan Decker here, who's trying to catch up as much as he can here. Dick Wing is too. And they're going to catch up just before they get on a pit road down to that, I believe it's 45 mile an hour pit road speed limit here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So they're going to be pitting here. And this makes more sense to me. I think nobody was able to go more than 26 laps on green flag, in green flag conditions for fuel. So I'm still really curious why the 88 and the 071 pitted so early, but you know, we're just gonna have to wait and see how it all unfolds. The 9 and the 55, they're gonna continue their reign at the top of this one, and I guarantee either the 9, probably the 55, is pretty close to locking up the most laps led for the night. And there is a pack here, so the top 3: Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, Bob Fitzgerald. And then Frank Ranger Jr. and Justin Davis are in this pack. Obviously, the 17 and the 10 are a couple laps down. 2 laps for the 17, and how many is the 10 down? 10 down? Yeah, 1 lap for the 10. So he is in the lucky dog position, in the 4th position actually at the moment. So these guys are going to look to probably stay out a little bit longer, but pretty much any time now they can come down pit road. Everyone pit last at lap 66, so they do have a ways before they have to come in, and we'll see if they're just trying to wait it out. Obviously, they've trapped quite a bit of the field a lap down at the moment, which could be advantageous to them, and you know, as they continue to try and command this race.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can pull it or not, but I would really, the 55 is pushing the same way we seen him pushing all race. Is there a way by chance that we can see what the 55 and the 9 are running, and then we already seen him come for a pit stop, maybe the 88 and the 071, if they're even making any time? You know, we seen a little bit more guys start to break off and just come down and get that pit stop. So I wonder if they seen what Charles and Dean did earlier and maybe took that into strategy, and now we see them in the smaller group and Charles and them in the bigger group. I was just wondering if it was paying off for him or not.
Yeah, so the 20, Charles Johnson just ran his fastest lap of the race at a 29.80. And some of the pack further on back is doing pretty well. Gabe Butler ran a 30.36, 30.33 as he crosses the stripe. But I think Gabe does have Eric. Now, they're linked together, but obviously now that the 9 and the 55 have such a large pack with them, they are really making some headway here. And obviously it shows a lap over Justin Davis, but that's 30 seconds on track. You have to go back to Jack Walls, who is 40 seconds back. Ryan Decker, 40 seconds as well, for some of the guys who have made their final pit stops. So there is a definite advantage for the 9 and the 55. And we'll see Kawabe Brooks, Bud Steele, and Jim Brooks. Their pack is actually running some really great lap times. So let's jump to those guys here. So that was that pack that I mentioned here. Yeah, this is the Roswell Motorsports guys. All of them lined up together here. And they were about 0.2 of a second faster than Charles Johnson and Dean Wilkinson here. So that is going to bode well for them and help them out quite a bit. Obviously, the 9 and the 55 are trying to retain as much track position as they possibly can here by staying out late and pitting longer. But this group here is probably going to be ones to watch. They're really making some great progress through the field and running some really good lap times right now.
Yeah, I like that move by the 9 and the 55. They got almost everybody a lap down. So with them knowing that these guys, they just got to push. Like you said, Charles just ran his fastest lap of the day. So these guys know, hey, we really got to push, because when they come out, we've seen how quick they can charge. So knowing that the pack behind you has to be a little bit of aggressive, and maybe they might have some bad luck. But I can tell you that 55 is hungry. Not a win this year. He's came close so many times. I can only imagine what's running through his mind. You being right here, and his teammate in front of him also being in the playoffs. So if I'm the 55, I want it so bad. I'm so focused, and definitely coaching myself up here at this point.
Yeah, and obviously Charles Johnson, I believe, is Mr. Racer 2 in the playoffs here, so he's more or less out of contention. He's about 34 points back. That's going to be a really, actually more than that. It's over 40 points back, but it's going to be a deficit that he really can't climb out of. But the 55, Dean Wilkinson, he's only 13 points back on Gabe Butler. And with the night that Gabe Butler's having, looking like he may finish just inside the top 10 there, it could be a huge night for Dean Wilkinson heading into the final race and put him in a position to try and win this race, as well as Ryan Decker. He came in only 6 points back off of the 88. Obviously, he's about 4 spots ahead of him at the moment, and that's going to erase quite a bit of a deficit. And at that point, it's going to come down to, that final race for sure, to see who's going to crown a champion here. But 14 laps to go. The 9 and the 55, the 08 still have yet to pit after the yellow, and will have to pit at least one more time to finish this race. Justin Davis is here in this pack as well, and in the same fuel situation, pitting situation. He is one lap down, though, to the 9 and the 55 and the 08. And then we've got a couple stragglers, the 411 and the 17, who have made their final pit stops. And actually, no, I take it back. Frank Ranger Jr. has not made his final pit stop yet, so he's tail end of this pack at the moment here, but we'll be 12 laps to go as we cross the stripe.
Yeah, still no pull off here. They gotta be starting to get close. I would start to assume maybe not. If Gabe topped off there and he came maybe 1 or 2 laps, maybe these guys still have 8 or 9 laps in the tanks. So or maybe they even, I don't think they can stretch it. There's no way, because of how quick Gabe came back down and then topping off. But these guys are they still putting down some pretty good times, or is Roswell and those guys still running them good laps?
0.3 of a lap faster, the Roswell Motorsports Group is. So they are erasing this deficit fairly quickly. It was 30.26 for Charles Johnson, a 30.15 for Jack Wells, so there's a 10th there that lap. It was about 0.3 the previous lap. So they're erasing the deficit quite a bit. And obviously with us all being bunched up back together after the caution, that's not going to bode well for the 9 and 55 for staying out late here. If the only thing that I think that's really going to benefit the 9 and the 55 at this point is if we were to have a caution come out. And then at that point, they would obviously be ahead of the field, trap most of it a lap down, and would be in a really great position. Obviously, almost everybody is going to get a wave around, and depending on how the pit cycle works and who doesn't pit. But for the most part, I would imagine that most of the field would get their lap back and then be ready to race this one out. But we're 10 laps to go, under 10 as we cross the start-finish line this time by. And yeah, the 9 and the 55 are bleeding a little bit of time to that Roswell Motorsports Group, who are making some really great headway. And I think by the time this all cycles back out, Jack Wells could potentially be your leader by the time we see the 9 and 55 pit, and it will be this time.
Yeah, you got a lot of tight group. You got to hit your marks, and you cannot slow down here as much as you want to. You really got to push it. As you said, they were really gaining time. And not only that, but this 9 laps to go, that makes you add in a little bit more fuel than I think you wanted to. Those earlier guys, oh, definitely check up. Everybody's going to stay clean. But I think it's going to, like you said, not only was the Roswell guys running better times, but I think they may have had to put in less fuel. This 9 laps, that's, to me, that's almost a whole can, and that can be 3 or 4 seconds.
We'll wait and see. I want to highlight that save by the 10 going onto pit road. That was incredibly impressive to see him save that car, and we'll see the 9 and 55 get out. And where is Jack Walls? He's coming with a head of steam down the front straightaway, and I think we're going to see these Roswell Motorsports guys come out ahead. Oh, the 411 spins out off of pit road, and he is going to throw the yellow, or cause a yellow. And that is going to punch this whole field back up here with under 10 laps to go.
Holy moly. Wow. You don't ever know what to expect. You weren't lying. Those Roswell guys were hauling. That was the last thing they wanted to see. We seen it not benefit the 55 and the 9 earlier, and now it helps. It's so crazy how the race plays out. Wow.
Yeah, and we saw the 411 go around as he came off of pit road. We'll see if we'll see. Okay, yellow flag here. And oh, interesting contact potentially with the 08. We'll rewind that, and then we're going to analyze that in a little replay, slow motion action here. And oh no, okay, that is okay. So the 411 is coming out of his pit box here, and looks like just maybe potentially grabbing a little bit too much throttle early on as the car starts to get sideways on him, turning to the right, trying to correct it, and then by the time he does, into the 08, and obviously because the leader's on track, you'll see them come by pretty quickly here in just a second. Wait for it. I think because the 411 was turned around so close to the speedway and the leaders were so close, there you see the 83 entering the frame. I think that was why that yellow was thrown, even though he was on the apron fully. But yeah, I think we mentioned a yellow would be the benefit to the 5 and the 55 and the 9, excuse me, and that is going to put them at the head of the field. Third place is going to go to Bob Fitzgerald. Jack Walls, Ryan Decker, Quabi Brooks, Gabe Butler, Jim Brooks, Bud Steele are all going to come down for pit road to top off on fuel and make sure they can go the distance here. Obviously, Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson, Bob Fitzgerald, they all pit on lap 92. They have plenty of fuel, I would assume, to get to the end. So Jack Walls and crew are going to try and see what they can do to make sure that they've got a little security if we do get into a few green-white checkers here, because we are winding the laps down. We still have the opportunity to end this race naturally under green flag. It'll probably be 4 laps to go by the time we get back to the stripe and get back to racing. So with that, we've got a couple minutes here, a couple seconds here at least. So obviously we heard from Ranger Creative Concepts early on the side-by-side. We saw Whiplash Sim Cams, and we are going to go to our old friends at 4D Racewear, and we'll be right back.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
And we are back and getting ready to go here. We are going to be 4 laps to go by the time we restart here. The pace truck's going to dive onto pit road here in just a second. Man, it's going to be a shootout to the end here, don't you think, Brandon?
Oh yeah, it's the 48 and the '08, we talked about this last restart. The 83 did a really good job. He stayed right on the back of the leader's bumper. You cannot let these two get hooked up, no matter what, because they've shown that they can dominate and they can make really, really good speed. So if you're the 48 and the '08, you're trying to stay on the bumper as most as you can. And sometimes when you get to doing that, that's when chaos can happen.
Well, it's a reset for the 88. He's back up in the lead pack, and he is in the 8th position. Going to try and gain a few spots to not let the 55 and the 48 gain on him in the championship standings, but the 55 will be the control car once again. On the restart, green flag, and the 55 is going to get away nicely with the 9 tucking in behind him. Teammates lined up there. Very great execution on this restart, but that's going to put a couple teammates in the outside lane. You see Bud Steele there is going to be coming in just a minute there with the 48. He's got Kawabe Brooks behind him, and Bob Fitzgerald's going to make the move to the inside lane there and stick with them. And that's going to be a couple Roswell Motorsports guys. Gabe Butler, though, going to spoil the party, and he's going to jump up into that high lane here and see what he can do to get towards the front of this one. But the 55 and the 48 are going to try and hold him off as much as they can.
Yeah, that was bad part on me not knowing that the '08 was part of that team. That was they executed that move perfect, and they're really going to have to get up on it on that outside line.
We're going to have a yellow. No yellow, but there was an incident behind the field. Still green flag. Jack Walls has crashed. Frank Ranger Jr. has crashed, but it's not registering as a yellow in iRacing, so we stay green flag. The 55 and the 9 are going to get a little sideways with the 48, and he's going to hang on to it. What a save for the 48, but that's going to put him way back in a deficit with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, what a save by the 48. That could really make a difference. He stays in this lead pack. That keeps some playoff points. He was up there. The 88's going to make a move to the outside. He's really going to need some help, maybe 2 or 3 cars minimum, because that outside line ain't really been able to do it. We see the 51's going to go up there. The 9's really going to have to push the 55 as the 88's tight.
And the help is on the high side. Gabe Butler has the 6, the 51, and the 28 from Roswell Motorsports. White flag is out on the speedway. Do the 55 and the 9 have what it takes to push? They're going to enter turn 1 with an advantage by about a car length. Is the 55 going to go up and block? He's not. He's going to stay with the 9. The 88's going to have the 6, and they're going to come around one more time.
Yeah, nobody's giving him help. Here comes the 48. He's trying to grab some positions here, slinging to the bottom. Everybody was on the high side. He's going to pick all those spots back up. That's what the bottom line needs. He's going to try to make it. Oh, no, Dean loses his help. Ooh, Dean at the line.
3 wide finish, a lot of chaos, and a big charge from the 48 on the final lap to try and make some last-minute heroics. But Dean Wilkinson is going to capitalize and come home with a race win here tonight.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, I can only just imagine the relief Dean is feeling. He's worked so hard all year. He's been there, and he's had luck like that at the end where he loses his help. And this time that 55 him and the 9 was revved up and going, and hats off to Dean Wilkinson. What a race he put together.
Heck of a time to get the first race win of the season for the 55 here, and we'll go through your race results before getting to those interviews as always. Dean Wilkinson coming home, our friendly Canadian, victorious here tonight. Gabe Butler is going to come home in the 2nd position, and a valiant effort towards the end. Charles Johnson giving the push to the 55, coming home rewarded with a podium placing here tonight. Bud Steele for Roswell Motorsports, a solid finish for him. In the 4th position, Jim Brooks, P5 for him tonight. Kawabe Brooks, the rare entry from him. Good to see him out on track. A really respectable 6th place finish for the favorite Brooks son, I should say, as he's going to be home 6th place. Ryan Deckard there with the heroics in the last lap, trying to make a move. Obviously made a bunch of progress through 3 and 4, and then got slowed up by the 9 and tried to bull his way through, but unfortunately going to have to settle for a 7th place finish there tonight. But Bob Fitzgerald in the 08, 8th place for him. Justin Davis will be the 2nd car, 1 lap down in the number 10 in the 9th position. Jack Walls there, he's going to be 2 laps down in that 83. Believe he's caught up in some of the issues after the restart there. Frank Ranger Jr. in the 17 is going to come home P11, Tom Dixon. We saw a few spins from him here tonight. He's going to come home 3 laps down in the 12th position. Some trouble for Eric Laurie as well, as he's going to be 4 laps down. And then we saw Nick Wing having to come down pit road for an extended amount of time in the beginning of the race under green flag conditions, which puts him 13 laps down. And then the very early retirement from Everett Lane, and he'll be 97 laps down. So that'll do it for the unofficial race results, and we're going to try and bring up some drivers here to talk to, starting with the 9 of Charles Johnson. And we are, very, very excited to see you guys. I mean, an incredible race from you and Dean. Obviously, a couple cautions in there. The first one did not benefit you, but I think the second one may have benefited you more. And I mean, but there was an incredible clinic, in the words of Guy Brooks, at the beginning part of this race, especially after the first green flag pit cycle. But Charles, enough of me dribbling. Take us through what it took to get to that third place finish here tonight.
Yeah, I think we focused on when we wanted to take 2 tires and when we wanted to take 4, and we got far enough ahead in that first pit cycle that we were able to take 4 at lap 50 and still come out ahead. That first caution was just we were dominating the race up to that point, but hey, it is what it is. It was a fun race, man. I think it was we put on a show there at the end for the fans for sure.
Yeah, you guys definitely put on a clinic. I believe it was up over 8 seconds at one point, and I mean, just take us behind the wheel of all those laps we were watching. Dean was rarely off your bumper. And at this track, it's so easy to get these cars sideways and come around. Just walk us through how it was just handling this truck.
So we kind of game planned that where I was floating up on corner exit and staying to the middle and then hitting the apex coming down, and it makes the truck so much more stable here at this track. So that's the reason why he was able to stay on me like that and not upset my truck. It was just us diamond in the corner really. So we wasn't doing a sharp turn into the corner and getting the rear end loose.
Definitely made a big difference there, and we saw you guys pull away. Obviously, unfortunately, the first yellow coming out, really being, I mean, erasing that clinic and that lead that you guys had. But the second caution, it looked like by the time you guys were coming off of pit road, it looks like the Roswell Motorsports guys were probably going to be well and ahead, probably able to maybe pull up to the draft behind them, but they had a head of steam heading into turn number 1. I assume that second caution was probably a little more welcome than the first.
Well, yeah, I was a little confused about that because when they pitted, they came out 13 seconds on my relative, and we got it down to almost 8 seconds. So I was thinking, all right, we're going to come ahead 4 to 5 seconds when we come off pit road. And of course, the caution came out as we was exiting pit road, and I look over there, and there's uh, uh, the 83 car, Jack. And I'm like, wow, my calculation was way off. So yeah, that caution came out just in time for us for sure.
Yeah, so I guess the racing gods taketh and then giveth as well. So yeah, we were watching there. It looked like for the most part you guys just weren't able to link up like you had in the first run, and that Roswell group, obviously with 6 cars strong, were clicking off I think a couple tenths a lap faster. So I think that was kind of the big difference there. But obviously the saving grace comes out, the yellow comes out, and you and the 55 able to execute the restart there and have a pretty good run to the finish. So I know obviously you're points wise probably not looking in contention for the championship, but still in the playoffs, still a really good solid season for you here. What's going to be probably the best thing that you can do, or what are you kind of looking forward to try and finish out strong with at next week's season finale?
I'm here to help my teammates as much as I can and get them as high in points as I can, and see where the points land. I had to miss one race during the playoffs, or I would be right in contention, I'm sure. But uh, you know, have to pay the bills, so it is what it is.
Oh, fair enough. Well, bummed to see you have to miss a race and be out of contention for it, but still, I mean, a lot to be happy for. And like you mentioned, more than likely going to be would have been in the mix if you had not had, or if you didn't have to miss there. But anyway, Charles Johnson, we're going to roll out that red carpet for you. Give one more opportunities for any thanks or shoutouts you'd like to give for that third place finish here tonight.
I'd just like to say thank you to my teammates and appreciate the drivers coming out tonight and racing good, clean racing. That's what Area 51 is all about. And appreciate the fans who watch us every week. And you hope you guys continue to watch us. And thanks for everything you guys do as well. Really good job on the broadcast.
Well, we appreciate that greatly, Charles, and congratulations to you, and hope you have a good night.
All right, man. Thank you.
Next up is going to be the points leader, and I can say that pretty definitively because he came in with the lead, pretty substantial lead, and I think he's going to leave with it too. But that's the 88 of Gabe Butler. Gabe, this was, I mean, it seemed like an up and down night. It looked like there were quite a bit of moments there, especially towards maybe the middle stages of the race, where it looked like you were going to maybe be in a deficit to both the 55 and the 48 points wise, but you're able to have an incredible recovery after the second yellow, get back up in that lead pack, mix it up, and move right to the front when it mattered most, and had a position to be there at the end to try and compete for that win.
I just got super lucky at the end of that with that caution, but I mean, prior to that, the night was a complete and utter disaster. Um, it got put in the wall by Ryan, but going back looking at it, it was kind of net code, and that kind of put me on the back foot. And then another caution came out, and we missed the pit road. We forgot about the pit lane opening really quickly, and we drove past it, so we ended up going a lap down, and luckily Eric and Justin were in there. Everett had an unusual issue with iRacing. Couldn't get his car started, so we were down to just the three of us, but yeah, we battled back. I'm not sure we deserved where we finished, but we'll have to take it considering the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta take them how they fall, and yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. We didn't know if it was strategy or what. You know, on that last pit stop, right after you took the green, we seen you maybe a lap or two come right back down. Was that because of the penalty, or were you guys gonna try to stretch it, make it to the end?
Well, no, that was because of the penalty. We kind of made a decision that we missed the pit in the first place, and we said, well, what the hell, we'll go a lap down anyway. We're going to get held. So we went ahead and fueled up and took 4 tires, and then had a 15-second hold after that, and we went a lap down, but we had fresh tires and full fuel. So we were kind of hoping for a caution. But at that point, Dean and Charles were like pulling away from the field. And luckily, the cautions fell our way, and we were able to get back in, fill it up, get 4 tires, and ended up getting back up there, luckily, P2.
By the time you got around, obviously you got to the high lane, you had the 6 of Bud Steele pushing you. Did you think at that point you had a good shot to win, or were you, I mean, obviously I assume quite a bit happy to be where you were at that point, but were you kind of thinking like, hey man, this is my opportunity, I can go win this thing and extend my points lead even further?
Oh yeah, I was definitely going for the win, but it's hard pushing a truck on the second lane, especially in that quad oval. So I mean, Bud did what he could, but on that bottom line, and Charles is a great pusher, and Dean holds a great line here. So they kind of had a slight advantage. But yeah, my eyes were kind of popping considering where I was, and I said, oh my gosh, I got a chance to win it. But we did what we could in the outside. Bud tried his best, and I appreciate that. And like I said, all things considered, I'm super lucky to get a P2.
Well, you've been in this position before, and by before I mean half a dozen or more times to be in contention for another championship here at Area 51. Obviously, a pretty successful season for you, leading the points coming into the final race, couple wins, and obviously plenty top fives for you here this season. But what's going to be the one thing next week that you're looking to try and capitalize on to really, be truly a really successful season? Is it winning the championship? Is there anything that you're kind of looking forward to next week to try and enjoy that last race of the season?
I mean, winning the championship will make it a good season. To me, I think it's been so up and down, between just silly mistakes and just some bad luck. So I feel like I really need to, get out there and put the hammer down, stay aggressive, and try and win the race next week, and just take any doubt out of it. And you know, but we'll see what happens. Again, it's super speedways, and you have to take what you can get. And I took what I got tonight. Luckily, again, just so much luck, man.
Yeah, sometimes I told Charles Johnson, obviously they kind of got stuck under that first yellow in bad position, and then the second one, was pretty fruitful for them. So, the racing gods always, taketh and giveth. So,
Yeah,
obviously a little bit
yeah,
of giveth here for you tonight, but we'll roll that red carpet out now for you. Any final thanks or shout outs you'd like to give for that second place finish there, Gabe?
yeah. Thanks to Eric and Justin for sticking with me there, and wish we had Everett. I think it would have made a difference, but he had some unfortunate iRace and stuff go on. But hopefully he'll be there next week. And Area 51 and all the admins for putting on this league, and you two guys up in the booth. Can't wait to look at the end of this one and see what we got. But and everybody that was out there watching the race tonight, I think ended up being an enjoyable race at the end there. And so we'll see everybody next week.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Gabe. Good luck to you in the championship hunt, and hope to talk to you again soon.
All right, Boomer, appreciate it.
Alrighty, so that is going to bring up our race winner, Dean Wilkinson, bringing up here into the booth. And a really great opportunity for tonight. I mean, an absolute clinic at the beginning stage, especially after the first green flag cycle. Watching you push Charles to the lead and continue to gap the field when there was, a pretty big pack behind you guys. I mean, clinic is, one of the easiest words that I can use for it, but I mean, it was incredible to watch you guys do what you were doing there, and it had to be a lot of fun from inside that truck.
Yeah, I think hitting those pit stops at this track really helps us get ahead like we did. And after a few laps, finding Charles's line, I was able to pretty much stay right behind him.
Yeah, you guys did amazing. I was so just amazed by watching. Just I've never seen it done. I've raced in this league, and I've broadcasted a little bit this season, and I never seen anybody do what you were able to do. And I bet it's so much of a relief to get that. You've been so close so many times, and just how does it feel, man? I know you've been close.
Let me tell you, when Mr. Butler was on my right side, I'm like, that mother, how does he do that? How does he get back there and then is going to win this race after we've just, did a clinic quote? I'm like, that guy, I was just laughing, like with anger. Gabe, you, anyway, it was fun at the end. I was just like, if he wins, I told Charles, I said, I'm going to be pissed. But thankfully he didn't, but he got second. Anyway, good for him. I can't believe he's a goat.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, I love definitely you could tell that it's a very healthy and friendly rivalry that you guys have going on there. I know obviously you guys have been racing here for quite a long time, and obviously he has quite a few accolades, but you've got quite a few yourself, and it's got to feel good to finally get that first race win of the season. It seems like it's long overdue, but how do you carry that momentum from tonight into that final race?
Well, just aggression. That's what I've been doing. Just try to stay up front. Don't go to the back. Just stay up front and, take the licks if they happen. If they don't, you can stay up front, then vie for a win.
So we'll definitely look forward to watching you try to capitalize on that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you'll be somewhere around like 7 points back, or so, maybe 7 or 8. But I mean, it's definitely still doable. Obviously, Gabe's got an advantage, but do you think there's an opportunity there for you to try and execute and still bring that championship home next week?
Yeah, I'm going to offer 5 iRacing dollars to everybody that helps me get. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just got to, you know, I don't know. I just luck. I need the luck that he had tonight. That's what I'm going to need.
Well, we did say in the first two interviews, obviously, the racing gods, they giveth and taketh. Obviously, a little bit of taketh on the first yellow there, but you guys were back in position after that second. So good to maybe a little bit of luck. Maybe not the luck you wanted. Obviously, Gabe Butler getting quite a bit tonight, but nonetheless, an incredible performance for you and Charles, and just an absolute pleasure to watch such a butt whooping at the beginning stage of this one. So, but we'll roll that red carpet out for you now, Dean. We'll give you a chance for any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give for the first win of the season here tonight.
Well, I got to thank Charles. I mean, him and I, yeah, we did really well there. And the other guys in the team, Bob and Tom. Thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Green White Checker TV, Area 51. Again, always, it's a great race league to run. And all the drivers. Again, without good drivers, we don't have good racing. So thank you. And I thank all the people in chat for the congratulations. I appreciate that, Seth, and I'm not sure who Gaming Guy is, but thank you.
Well, there's a letter at the end of that. It's Gaming Gael, so it's it's our
Gael.
boss man.
Oh,
Yes.
I
Yep.
didn't catch that. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, Gael. And yeah, thank you, Boomer and Brandon, for for all what you guys do. I'll go back and watch the race now and go to bed.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. Well, congratulations, and look forward to seeing what you can do next week. Try and vie for that championship, and hope to talk to you again soon there, Dean.
Have a good night, guys.
Alrighty, we'll see quite an extended burnout from the 55 here. Love to see that on the screen. He's having a good time. Definitely overdue for that victory here tonight. After, I mean, obviously Charles Johnson had a really great night, but just watching the 55 and how he was able to push the 9, during or after that first green flag pit stop. I mean, clinics, like I wish I could find a better word for it, but it was, I mean, it was a clinic, it was a butt whooping, it was incredible to see the execution that those guys had in the middle stages of this one, and obviously looks like, obviously turned out that got a little bit of luck on their side with the second Gale coming back to be back in contention, and I think pretty solid race overall for the third race of the playoffs here, Brandon.
Yeah, and super excited for Dean. Like we brought up, he's been so close so many times, and worked his butt off, and kept working, and never gave up, and finally paid off. And now it put him in a position to run for a championship. And this season has brought us some excitement. If you love iRacing and you love super speedway racing, there's no better league than this one. You get everything with this one. So. And on top of it, somebody's going to walk away with a badass trophy next week.
Badass trophy. Obviously, thanks to Ranger Creative Concepts and all that they do, and a lot of our other partners here. Obviously, I saw the commercials for Whiplash Sim Cams. We got 40 Raceware on board as well. Appreciate all those guys and all that they do. And we're going to try and give an update here before we get off the broadcast. So we'll see how quickly we can try and talk our way through this and bring this up. But we do have an updated points graphic coming. So I guess I'll throw it back to you, Brandon. So obviously, we talked to the 55, the 88, mostly going to be both in contention for the championship next week. What are your biggest keys that you think that they'll need to execute on for that final race here next week in the championship to win the championship?
I think it's going to come down to what we've talked about all year long. It's going to be your teammates. Jim and Ryan aren't technically out of it neither. Like Gabe said, it's super speedway racing. Anything can happen. It's Talladega, so you're not going to have the exciting pit road entries, I think, as we see here and at iRacing. You're not going to be able to count on that. You're really going to have to race as a team, and whichever team brings the best team to the track next week is going to win the championship. I truly believe that. You get the 5 extra bonus points for winning. And if you can have 3 or 4 teammates behind you in a line and you can conquer, it's going to push your, that many more points. So you're calling up every single one of these teammates, and maybe you're putting up a little bit more practice in this week, and going to try to execute with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a pretty good battle to the end here. And apologies, brought up the points graphic, but that was actually outdated. That was from earlier tonight, so we'll try and grab the one here.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna have Gabe. I think Gabe's gonna have maybe a few point lead, over Dean, and just a few more points to Jim. Jim and Ryan are 1 point apart, so it's gonna be neck and neck. If you thought you were entertained tonight, you ain't seen nothing yet. I don't think come next week.
Yeah, and there we see the official points. So by estimates, I wasn't actually too far off Dean Wilkinson. He's going to be 8 points back. I think I said 6 or 7, but he's going to be there. Obviously, he gains 2 positions tonight with the race win. I mean, obviously he's at 11 starts and 9 top 10s. That's the most, tied with a few other drivers this season. He's got 5 top 5s, which is tied for the most, except for actually Charles Johnson, who's had 7 top 5s and had an incredible run this season. Obviously, unfortunately, not able to, had to miss one of the races here in the playoffs, but would have expected him to be right there in the mix. But Gabe Butler coming in with an 8-point advantage. Obviously, Gabe is probably one of the most humble guys that we know. Obviously, a really great group of people here that are racing, but Gabe, I mean, incredible class and very humble, and so is Dean. Looking forward to see these guys battle out. And I mean, they race incredibly hard, but with a very high level of respect. And it's cool to see the battle that's shaping up there. So, Gabe Butler and Dean Wilkinson, about 8 points apart, still mathematically doable. Obviously, Jim Brooks is about 10 points back. That's going to be a little bit harder of a deficit, and obviously, as it gets further on back, it gets tougher and tougher. But I mean, still possible mathematically for Jim Brooks. Obviously, he's got quite a bit of spots to gain over Dean Wilkinson and Gabe Butler, but not mathematically out of it. And it's going to be a great run to the finish here next week. So with that, we'll bring up for the last time this season. We'll bring up our schedule here, and we will show you all the stuff that's going on. Should be a great finish to the season here. And for some reason, my schedule's not pulling up, so that's fine. No graphic for that, but obviously we'll be back next week for that championship finale here. We'll be at Talladega. That's May 8th on Thursday night. So be sure to tune in and have some fun with us. We'll crown another champion, the first of 2025, and have a good time doing it, hopefully, here on Green White Checker TV. Don't forget the Sunday Gen 4 Super Speedway Series. They are going to be at Atlanta on this Sunday on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And they are going to be their third race of the playoffs as well. And then May 11th, 1 week later, they will close out their season like we will on Thursday nights at the Talladega Super Speedway. And I think we've actually finally wrapped up the Tuesday IndyCar series. We had the broadcast just 2 nights ago, and was a good finish to a solid season. So for now, no more Tuesday nights. We do have the posted schedule for Area 51, the Tuesday IndyCar Racing Series. So it's 2025 Season 2. It's going to be starting on June 3rd. So they're going to take about a month off, and back on June 3rd at Homestead to kick off that season there. And it's going to be a really, really great season, shaping up a lot of really great tracks: Homestead, Gateway, Chicagoland, Watkins Glen, Motegi, and it's going to culminate with the Indianapolis 500K, which is a 2 times points finale, so double points earned in that final race, and that'll take us all the way into November 18th. So from June 3rd to November 18th, you'll be watching on Tuesday nights for the Area 51 IndyCar Racing Series. Excited to have those guys around on Tuesday nights as well. Had to, obviously with some of the rights to IndyCar, had to drop it for a little while, but glad that it's back and in full swing, and they've got a full slate of races coming to you in just about a month's time. So we're going to wrap up here tonight. Do not miss the action next week on Thursday night for the season finale. Do not miss this Sunday's race for the Gen 4 series, as they're going to run it back at Atlanta again, and they're going to have their third race of the playoffs, and then 1 week later it'll be another season finale on Sunday nights as well. So lots of action here on Green White Checker TV. All the fun that we get to have is thanks to all the fans and all the people that support the league and are a part of this. So we appreciate all of you and all that you do, and to all the racers and all the admins, everybody at the league. It's a lot of fun to be a part of this, and we appreciate you all. So we'll sign off for now. For my co-host, Brandon Briggs, for myself, Boomer Logan, we appreciate you all. We hope you have a great week, and take care.